Good afternoon. The Victoria Day long weekend is almost here, and Toronto police are working to make sure residents stay safe.
They provided an update this morning on safety measures that will be in place across the city. CTV's Janice Golding has been following this story. She joins us live now from a very picturesque beach there. Janice, tell us more.
Hi, Michelle. Yes, we'll get to what the police are going to be doing, but in the meantime, we are heading into a long weekend, and many people are making plans about how they're going to celebrate. We're live right now at Sugar Beach, where we've been speaking to Torontonians and tourists alike about their plans, and there is certainly a lot going on. Cafe Tio is resuming in what is going to be a beautiful weekend. There will be many malls that will be staying open this weekend, including the Eden Centre, Yorkdale, and Square One, and Queen's Park will be hosting a free, family-friendly community celebration with live music and performances. Of course, the city will host its annual Victoria Day fireworks at Ashbridges Bay at 10 p.m. If you are hosting your own fireworks watch party, the City of Toronto reminds you that you are permitted to set off fireworks on your own private property before 11 p.m. Something to keep in mind, Line 6 Finch West will be closed all weekend for system upgrades and FIFA World Cup preparations starting at 2:30 a.m. until 4 a.m. Tuesday, so you might make some plans for transit. Here is more from police about the celebrations at Ashbridges Bay.
Fireworks are not permitted on the beach. There are no fireworks to be deployed. Our officers will be in full enforcement engagement, so any individuals who are coming to the beach with their fireworks will be investigated and cautioned relating to the bylaw offenses. There is also no drinking on the beach. Although some city parks do permit drinking in their parks, the Ashbridges and Woodbine Beach is not one of them.
Probably some barbecuing and some testing of camping tents.
Walk around Kensington Market and see some friends and family.
So it's a long weekend leaving the city, unfortunately, but we'll deal with the traffic and get to Windsor.
I was going to go to the food festival here, actually, on Saturday.
Now, as that last woman mentioned, this is going to be a site of a food festival. It's called the Festival of Flavors here at Sugar Beach. Is going to be starting at noon tomorrow and running through to Monday. Reporting live from Janice Golding. Now back to Michelle and Sean.
Well, that sounds tasty. Thank you, Janice. Now, while some people will be staying in town, others will be hitting the road this long weekend as they look to get away from the city.
And police are urging drivers to stay safe on the roads this long weekend, and they'll be monitoring for anyone breaking the rules. CP24's Steve Ryan has been speaking with drivers and joins us now live from the King City en route. Steve.
Well, the police in the GTA, including the OPP, are preparing for busy roadways this long weekend and waterways as well. Joining me to discuss this further is Ontario Provincial Constable Konkle. Thank you for your time, officer, and what are your thoughts on this upcoming long weekend?
Yeah, so it's the start of the summer. We're going to have lots of officers out there on our roadways to do extra enforcement out there. Lots of vehicles are going to be on our road and our waterways. So we just want to remind people to be patient with one another and maybe plan your trips and you'll get there safely, right? Pay attention out there.
Now, there'll be a lot of enforcement, I would imagine, on the roadways and on the waterways as well. Can you touch on some of the most concerning offenses when it comes to in a car and on a boat?
Yeah, so our officers are going to be looking for, speeders, right? We're going to be looking for impaired drivers. We're looking for people on their cell phone and people not wearing their seatbelts. All of these four, we call them the big four, are major concerns on our highways, and they do cause serious collisions and fatalities on our roadways and our waterways as well, especially the impaired driving and then not wearing life jackets on the waterways as well, right? So that's just like wearing your seatbelt in a car, right? So we want to remind people to, obey by those rules and just follow them.
And as far as messaging goes, when it comes to speeding, what's the message there? Yeah,
so people choose to speed, right? And they cause, serious collisions and fatalities on our roadways, right? So people choose to speed, they choose to be on their cell phone, they choose to, drink and drive, and they choose not to wear their seatbelt, right? We want people to choose safe driving and, choose to put on your seatbelt, choose, to, get that alternative ride home or, that designated driver home for impaired driving. We want people to choose to put down the cell phone and, people choose not to speed, right? Obey by those speed limits and, stay safe out there.
I appreciate your time. Some good advice and insight. I'll send right back to the desk.
Thank you, Steve. And while the cost of gas remains high, the price at the pumps fell by a few cents overnight ahead of the long weekend. The price of regular gas dropped 4 cents a litre overnight to just under $1.91 a litre at most GTA stations. Dan McTeague with Canadians for Affordable Energy is predicting a drop of another cent tomorrow, followed by a 2-cent increase on Sunday. Meanwhile, diesel fell 8 cents a litre today. It's expected to drop another 3 cents tomorrow before rising by 3 cents on Sunday. McTeague is warning that gas prices could reach $2 a litre by the end of the month. Still to come, the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of recognizing a new legal means for a victim of intimate partner violence to seek financial damages. We'll have more on the landmark decision a little later in the newscast.
But first, Peel police are searching for suspects after shots were fired at a tow truck in Brampton. They're also searching for the tow truck driver. Police were called to a gas station in the area of Beauvais Drive and Mountain Ash Road around 6 p.m. for reports of gunfire towards a tow truck. They say the truck had left the scene before they arrived. No injuries have been reported, and investigators are urging the truck driver to contact them.
This is concerning because this is 6 o'clock at night on a Thursday. People are out shopping. People are driving home from work. We're well aware of that, but it appears as though this was isolated to the tow truck. However, this is a blatant regard for public safety given when this is occurring and given the fact that this is individuals discharging an illegal firearm at a tow truck. That's not acceptable, and that is not going to be tolerated in this region.
Police have not yet provided descriptions of the suspects who fled the scene.
Ontario's Court of Appeal is expected to release its decision today in the case of former fashion mogul Peter Nygard. In 2023, Nygard was convicted of 4 counts of sexual assault and sentenced to 11 years in prison. In their appeal, lawyers for the 84-year-old claim the trial judge made errors, including admitting testimony of an expert on trauma. Well, a deadline is looming for the TTC and the union representing its electrical and signal workers to reach a new contract.
Workers will be in a legal strike position at midnight, while the transit agency will be in a legal lockout position. CTV's John Musselman has been following these labor talks and joins us live now with the very latest. John.
Well, Michelle, our understanding is that both sides continue to negotiate to try to reach a collective agreement here. Now, this issue has been going on for about a week now, newsworthy-wise, as people are getting concerned about what effect it may have on transit service. This is QP2. It's part of the TTC. It involves electricians, signalers, and people who take care of the tracks. It's not the ATU, the Amalgamated Transit Union. That involves the bus drivers, streetcar drivers, and subway drivers. This is a smaller group and part of the transit union that is dealing with this issue. So we're waiting to see whether they can reach a deal. If they cannot reach a deal, the union is in a strike position as of midnight, and the city, as you mentioned, the Transit Commission could lock them out as well. So we'll keep an eye on negotiations. They're ongoing at a hotel downtown. If we get more information, we'll pass it on. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. There he goes. The TTC's Line 6, the Finch West LRT, will be closed this long weekend. Metrolink shutting the line down for 4 days. Work has started today and will last through Tuesday. Metrolink says workers are carrying out system and performance upgrades ahead of the FIFA World Cup next month. Shuttle buses will be running along Finch Avenue West during the closure. Meanwhile, there will be no service on the Kitchener-Go line this long weekend. The line will be shut down until Monday due to planned construction. Go buses will be running along the route instead. They will also be stopping at the Highway 407 bus terminal, allowing passengers to transfer to the TTC to head into the city. Well, an event was held this morning to call on the province to protect funding for the TDSB's Model Schools for Inner Cities program.
The program is aimed at providing specific services for students within the board. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has been following this story and joins us now live with more. Siobhan.
Well, we're outside Fir Grove Public School near Jane and Finch. This is about one of 150 model schools across the TDSB, and it is going to lose its funding for that program, a decision made by the government-appointed supervisor. Model schools get extra funding. The idea is that the kids in these communities who go to these schools need a little extra help, a little bit more funding to help them succeed in the classroom and beyond. So there's more money to help classrooms stay smaller so they get more individual attention. There are more supports, including medical clinics at schools. We heard from one model school's dad and a campaign co-chair who talks about what's on the line here.
It's a remarkable vision. It's a vision to help all children, and it's under attack. The future of public education in Toronto is under attack. For years, Ontario was held up globally, right alongside Finland, as the gold standard for an equitable public school system. A system where every kid, regardless of their postal code, had a chance to achieve their dreams. But it seems Premier Doug Ford is tired of being the best. As much as Ford talks about fighting against Donald Trump, he wants to cuddle up with the American model of extreme inequality.
Now, Doug Ford's riding of Etobicoke North is not far from here. Advocates today pointed out that 15 of 19 TDSB elementary schools in his riding are these model schools. We spoke to one mom who points out that these are the exact kids that his brother, Rob Ford, paid a lot of attention to during his time as mayor, and she says that the premier should be honoring that legacy. Reporting live, I'm Siobhan Morris. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Siobhan. A second round of tickets are now available for the FIFA Fan Fest. The city has released another batch of free general admission tickets for the World Cup event. During the first release last week, 220,000 tickets were snapped up within hours. Those looking for an enhanced experience can purchase premium tickets. Those run for between $100 and $300.
Drake fans are enjoying not one, not two, but 3 new albums from the Toronto rapper.
Look up, turbulent flights, dodging cumulus clouds, squares drawing a line, but we at the root of it now.
During a live stream last night, Drake played new music from his Iceman album. The stream featured several music videos, including one shot inside City Hall featuring the rapper sitting at Mayor Olivia Chow's desk while wearing her chain of office.
The album release also saw 75 projectors used to make it appear as if the CN Tower was frozen. Near the end of the stream, Drake revealed that in addition to his Iceman album, he is also releasing 2 other projects titled Habibti and Maid of Honor.
Just before the albums were released, there was a large fireworks display at the Harbourfront Centre, which lasted for about 10 minutes. The city had warned residents about the fireworks display ahead of time, saying a permit had been issued for it as part of a private video shoot.
Meanwhile, Mayor Chow posted a photo on Instagram of a note Drake left for her. It reads, "Thank you to my Crody, Olivia Chow. It's signed Iceman 2026. And if you need a refresher on Toronto slang, I did. Crody means friend."
Meanwhile, the mayor's office released a statement which reads in part, "Drake is a big booster of our city. The mayor recognizes Drake's impact representing Toronto on the global stage. His team filmed a video at Toronto City Hall overnight on Easter weekend, and it included the mayor's office. The city's film office and relevant departments facilitated required permits and the video shoot. A member of the mayor's staff was on site while the production team was in the mayor's office, and while the chain was being used, his team treated the mayor's office with care and respect."
All right, let's head outside, and it's far from icy out there. Beautiful, gorgeous. The Friday of a long weekend. We've got the sunshine and beautiful days ahead. And Lindsay Morrison, can we also talk about the temperatures? Finally, we're feeling the warmth.
Finally, Michelle, you know, there's a little bit of everything to like in this long weekend forecast. It has been an unsettled, soggy spring. It has been very cool so far in the month of May. That all changes today. We're enjoying sunshine right now. There's a little bit of cloudiness here and there draping in, and we could see more of that this afternoon, although we do expect it to be a dry day for us. 19 degrees is where we stand right now. Already seasonal. If you've been outside today, you've likely noticed the difference. Winds today are coming from more of a southwesterly direction, and that makes all the difference on a day like this. Let's bring back your lawn and garden forecast. It's going to be a big weekend for people planting their annuals finally. Conditions are looking great for the rest of the day. 20 degrees is what we're forecasting for a daytime high, and then the heat is going to build through the weekend. Coming up, we'll show you when the temperature could be close to 30 degrees. That and when the cool down returns. All of those details in your 7-day forecast. But for now, Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. A major seller of suicide kits linked to at least 150 deaths around the world is expected to plead guilty in an Ontario courtroom.
However, a W5 investigation is looking into why other deaths from the same chemical sold in the kits appear to be continuing. CTV's John Woodward reports.
Muy buena hija, muy buena amiga. These photos represent the life of Yesenia Bedoya Lopez that she once shared with her parents, Leonardo and Maria.
I don't have the words. She was my friend, my confidant, my light.
They described how they had come to Ontario from Colombia, first settling in Thunder Bay and then the Greater Toronto area. Yesenia was passionate about leadership, attending a program with the York Regional Police. But as the pandemic wore on, the isolation took its toll on the 18-year-old. Her parents admitted her to a local hospital for depression in 2022. She was discharged. That's when Yesenia went online and found out about deadly products offered by a company operated by former chef Kenneth Law, sold as suicide kits. In September 2022, they found Yesenia dead.
Her veins were very dark, very black. There's nothing natural about what happened.
A harrowing scene that may have played out at the homes of some 13 other families, including 21-year-old Stephen Mitchell and 19-year-old Ashton Prosser Blake. Kenneth Law was charged with murder in those deaths. He is now expected to plead guilty to 14 counts of aiding and abetting suicide. Around the world, a tally by W5 found the products connected to at least 150 deaths.
The chemical itself is a legal food preservative. It's only in high concentrations when it's deadly. When Kenneth Law was arrested, deaths tied to that substance dropped, but they didn't stop.
New data W5 collected from coroners across Canada show the particular poison Law sold, often abbreviated as SN, was linked to just 3 deaths across the country in 2018. In 2020, that had jumped to 31, staying that high for years, until dropping after Kenneth Law was arrested in 2023. But not to zero. In 2024, there were 17 deaths linked to the chemical. In 2025, there were 11.
Since 2019, we've seen an increase in the number of cases being sent to my laboratory.
Professor Amrita Ahluwalia said that trend is continuing in her home country of the United Kingdom, where 112 deaths were linked to Kenneth Law.
All I can be certain of is that we have seen an increase in the UK of the number of cases that show positive indication for the presence or use of this salt.
Law often marketed his products on a pro-suicide website that W5 is not naming. That, too, has new posts swapping tips about finding a legit source for Canada. The UK issued fines equivalent to almost $2 million to that site, but Canada doesn't have the same legal tools. Health Canada told W5 in a statement they asked tech company Google to delist the site. Google told them to get a court order. The agency says this matter has been referred to law enforcement. Yesenia's parents don't want anyone to easily access this chemical, as they are pushing to keep her memory alive. As for Law, he is now expected to plead guilty to 14 counts of aiding and abetting suicide. With that plea, he's avoided a murder trial.
Charge him with murder. There are many deaths, too many deaths.
He's an assassin. He's a serious assassin. We know what he's done, and he should be charged as such.
They are watching the hearing closely and want Law's punishment to fit his crimes. John Woodward, CTV News.
Tonight, W5 will be looking into who could be selling this product to Canadians. Tune in to CTV National News for the story.
In a landmark decision, the Supreme Court of Canada has ruled in favor of recognizing a new legal means for a victim of intimate partner violence to seek financial damages. CTV's Jeremy Charon has been following this case. He joins us live now from Ottawa with more. Jeremy, help us understand this decision.
Yeah, Michelle, this is significant. A long-awaited decision by the Supreme Court released this morning, choosing to recognize a new legal basis in which to seek, as you've touched on, financial compensation for damages, specifically for intimate partner violence. So prior to this, someone who was the victim of intimate partner violence would have had to sue through civil court for assault or battery to try and seek financial compensation. Now, the Supreme Court is recognizing a new legal means to sue a former partner for intimate partner violence called a tort of intimate partner violence. A tort is a legal term for that legal basis to pursue a civil claim. This is significant because the decision was initially made by a judge in Ontario that awarded a victim $150,000 under a new, a new legal basis that basically this judge established. It was then overturned by an appeals court and made its way, of course, all the way to the Supreme Court. What we saw today is the Supreme Court made some changes to the ruling by the Ontario judge, which at the time had called this a legal basis for family violence. New terms, new specifications now mean this will be a legal basis for intimate partner violence, and it has to meet specific criteria, including that wrongful conduct happened during or after an intimate relationship, that the person intentionally engaged in abusive conduct, and that conduct amounts to coercive control. So there is a significant threshold and specific criteria here, Michelle, that has to be met. But this is a new avenue for victims of intimate partner violence to be able to seek through civil court financial compensation for damages.
Jeremy, is there a sense, real quick, of how impactful this might be?
Yeah, I mean, the sense is, leading up to this decision, the sense was that, if this were to be the case, and if the Supreme Court were to recognize this new legal basis, it would be significant. It means that survivors of intimate partner violence now have a new, clear avenue through civil court to be able to pursue when it comes to financial compensation for suffering that they have incurred through intimate partner violence. Sometimes it's over years. This is a clear path for survivors to be able to seek some compensation. So the sense is this will have a significant impact on victims of intimate partner violence.
CTV's Jeremy Charron live for us in Ottawa. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Looking out west, the Prime Minister and the Premier of Alberta are set to announce a new deal on carbon pricing this afternoon.
To create the conditions to build the clean grid of the future, we need a carbon pricing market that actually works. We will also advance potential pipeline to transport at least 1 million barrels of low-emission Alberta oil a day to new markets.
Sources tell CTV News the deal will set carbon emissions price of $130 a ton by 2040, down from the original plan of $170 a ton by 2030.
10 years longer to get to $40 less. And it is a compromise. It's a huge step for the province of Alberta, the government of Alberta, to embrace carbon pricing. And it's a huge concession on the part of the federal government to move the yardsticks this significantly. But I think the common view is that's what it's going to take to get out of the way and to introduce and invite a private sector proponent to actually build a pipeline, try to get our oil to the ocean so that it can be carried to Asian markets.
CTV News political commentator Scott Reed says other provinces will also likely expect concessions if Ottawa is easing carbon pricing rules for Alberta. In BC, Premier David Eby said he's in touch with the Prime Minister, but there's still no confirmed route or builder for a proposed pipeline. Coastal First Nations have rejected the idea and talk of lifting an oil tanker ban. The PM and the Premier of Alberta are expected to speak around 1:30 Eastern from Calgary. Well, a joint investigation between Canadian and American authorities has busted an organized crime ring trafficking guns into Canada.
CTV's Joy Malvin has more on what's being described as a win on both sides of the border.
Authorities in New Hampshire say they've cracked an international gun trafficking ring that smuggled dozens of illegal firearms from the U.S. into Canada through tribal lands that straddled both countries.
If you traffic firearms across borders, or if you help arm criminal organizations, federal law enforcement will find you, investigate you, and prosecute you.
Officials say 5 people have pleaded guilty, 8 others indicted by a federal grand jury, charged with trafficking firearms. If convicted, they could face decades in prison. Court documents say members of the Akwesasne Reservation enlisted people to purchase the firearms through licensed dealers for those prohibited from owning guns legally. These are some of the weapons traced back to suspected members of organized crime.
Several of which were subsequently recovered at various crime scenes, to include kidnapping and attempted murder in Canada.
Last Friday, 3 men, including 2 Canadians, appeared in a New York court charged with gun smuggling after they found a suitcase packed with dozens of rifles and stolen guns. It's long been a problem. Canadian authorities recover about 17,000 to 20,000 crime guns a year, and up to half are smuggled into the country from the United States. The district attorney praised Canadian and U.S. cooperation along with tribal police for taking down this gun smuggling operation. Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.
The presidents of both the United States and China are conveying positive signals following Donald Trump's visit to Beijing as countries closely analyze the aftermath. The two superpowers are still locked in disagreements on several economic and geopolitical fronts, but as the war with Iran continues, Trump says Xi Jinping told him that Tehran agreed with him that Tehran should not be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon, and that the Strait of Hormuz needs to be reopened to support global energy demands. As for the hot-button issue of Taiwan, Trump says that he didn't respond when Xi told him he was opposed to the island's independence.
I didn't say anything about it, but certainly, he brought that up. He talked about that to me, obviously. So what am I going to do? Say I don't want to talk to you about it because I have an agreement that was signed in 1982? No, we discussed arms sales too.
And what's his request?
We discussed the Taiwan, the whole thing with the arms sales. It was in great detail, actually.
That's a reference to a major arms package authorized by Trump's administration back in December. He said he would decide how to proceed and didn't respond when asked if the U.S. would defend Taiwan from China.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has visited the site of a Russian strike in Kyiv, where the death toll has risen to 24 people. Yesterday, an apartment building was struck by a Russian attack in the Ukrainian capital. Rescue crews spent more than 28 hours combing through the rubble for survivors and victims. 3 children are among the dead. Dozens of other people were injured in the attack.
The World Health Organization provided an update this morning on recent Hantavirus outbreak, trying to clear up any confusion about how long people should remain in isolation.
There's going to be a lot of epidemiological investigation to say this was a higher risk, this was a lower risk. But for us at WHO and for our recommendations, we've been very clear that all of the passengers and crew that were on board, we consider high risk.
On Thursday, Canada's chief public health officer revealed that Canada had been informed of 26 passengers who shared a flight with a person potentially infected with Hantavirus. Canadian officials consider those people to be low risk, while European authorities had designated the travelers as being at no risk of infection. The WHO says its recommendation is for quarantine to be maintained for 42 days from the last point of exposure.
Well, here at home, the World Cup is less than a month away, and Dane St. Clair is battling to be Team Canada's #1 goalkeeper.
CTV's chief anchor and senior editor, Omar Sachedina, spoke with him about how playing with Lionel Messi has helped him prepare to play on the global stage.
Saved by St. Clair. St. Clair with another really good block. St. Clair, his biggest save of the night.
Qatar 2022, and now Dane St. Clair is about to represent Canada again in his 2nd World Cup.
That is a great save by Dane St. Clair.
But there's still a big unknown whether he'll be starting in goal.
It's a team, and we want to do what's best for our country and put the guys out there that the coach thinks and believes in that can do the job. And of course, I think that's myself, but at the same time, respecting the coach's decision.
Dane St. Clair with a magnificent save.
Born in Pickering, Ontario, the 29-year-old now plays for Inter Miami.
Obviously, playing on such a global stage and a global team, I think is really preparing me for such a global tournament this summer, and it was a large part of the reason why I decided to go there.
The pressure here, Lionel Messi.
It also happens to be the home of soccer great Lionel Messi, who went from taking shots on St. Clair to joining forces with him.
Over to the far side it goes. Messi the ball.
What's that like? I mean, is it daunting, or have you just sort of accepted the fact that he's just part of the team? You got to approach it that way.
No, I think you got to approach it like he's a part of the team. Of course, he's the greatest to ever play, but to be able to kind of put myself in front of that and to be able to challenge myself on a daily basis, I think only makes me better.
He's grown a lot since he went pro, selected by Minnesota United in 2019 and rising through the ranks to become the 2025 MLS Goalkeeper of the Year.
It's De Rosario, it's saved!
The son of a Trinidadian father and a mother with roots in Scotland, he grew up with the game.
Are there divided loyalties?
Yeah, I'm sure my family over there will be cheering for Scotland. I remember when Trinidad made the World Cup, like, I felt like I wanted Trinidad to do so well at it. Obviously, Canada wasn't in it at that time, but I think anytime you have multiple countries that you feel a part of, you want all those teams to be successful.
A diplomatic answer, but for him, only one choice.
What do you think it's going to be like to be able to play on home soil?
A dream come true. Anytime you get the opportunity to wear the maple leaf on your chest, there's always a lot of pride and passion, and you're always playing and fighting for something that's way bigger than you, and to be able to kind of do that and look around the stadium and see so many Canadians cheering us on and wanting to do well, but also to show the rest of the world who we are.
A message he'll soon take to the pitch and share with the world. Omar Sechdina, CTV News, Toronto.
Well, this may not come as a surprise, but we've only hit 20 degrees one time so far in the month of May, and we're on our way today. Hopefully this will be the second day. 20 degrees is what we're forecasting for a high, which means we are on the warm side of seasonal. Nice mix of sun and cloud, a little bit of an increase in cloud this afternoon. A heads up for your Saturday afternoon with a little bit of instability in the atmosphere. It's now looking like we could get a few showers or even a thunderstorm, but Sunday and Monday are still looking dry, and check out Monday. It's going to be hot. We'll talk about humidex values and your fireworks forecast. That's all after the break here on CTV News at noon.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Welcome back. Well, it's a picturesque day in the city. Guys, I feel like we did it. We earned this, and now it's our time.
It's finally here. Let's savor it. So many days off ahead for so many people, and the weather is cooperating. You can just feel it when you walk around. I actually went to a garden center this morning, and you could just see everybody's in a great mood. The flowers are bursting. It's beautiful.
That was probably pretty busy already.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. That's going to be one of the places to be this weekend for sure. I know so many gardeners are eager to get planting, and it's looking like temperature-wise, no frost concerns as we make our way through this weekend. There is one little fly in the ointment for Saturday afternoon where we could see a few showers, maybe the risk of a thunderstorm, but otherwise you can expect some sunshine and you can expect some heat. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. I do want to step outside one more time and point out the fact that while we've had a beautiful sunny start to the day, I do expect that there will be a little more in the way of cloud cover this afternoon, anticipating that it will be a dry afternoon here in the GTA. And with the temperature already quite mild, I think it's that time where patios are going to start to open up as well. Maybe that's part of your long weekend plan. Here's the satellite and radar. We're going to widen things out to show you that it is quite active stateside. We've got a low pressure system north of us, and that's going to bring some areas, some parts of Ontario, the risk of active weather through the long weekend, including now for us on Saturday afternoon. A little bit of instability in the atmosphere helping with that risk as well. There's 6 p.m. tonight, so nice mix of sun and cloud, waking up to beautiful sunshine. Then the cloud cover increases. Just a heads up that it could be as early afternoon, but what's more likely is that late afternoon and early evening. That's when we see or hear a few rumbles of thunder, flashes of lightning, and perhaps a heavy downpour. But Sunday's looking dry. Monday, we're also going to keep an eye on late in the day to see if a few showers arriving could impact your Monday night fireworks. But right now, Sunday night's looking nice and dry. 19 degrees right now at Pearson Airport with more warmth on the way. A look at your almanac. Seasonal norm is 19 degrees, so we are where we expect to be at this time of year. Finally, overnight tonight, seasonal as well, 9 degrees for the low under clear skies. This is your lawn and garden forecast for tomorrow. 22 degrees is the expected high, a UV index of 6. And again, right now it's looking like mainly clear skies for both Sunday and Monday night. Monday evening should be quite mild too. Then we're going to have a front move through, and that is eventually going to cool us down for next week. We'll get to that in just a moment. But Sunday's high is 23 degrees. Monday's is 28 28. It's going to feel like 30. Some parts of southern Ontario could actually hit 30 degrees. The warmth sticks around until about Monday. We're back in the teens by Thursday. And yes, as early as Monday, overnight or perhaps even late evening, it's possible we'll get a few showers. They follow us into Tuesday and Wednesday. That's the weather for now. Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, we are following developing news. Look at this. Cleanup is underway after a dump truck struck a bridge on the eastbound 401. This is a live look from our CTV News chopper of the scene on the 403 at Huron, Ontario. The truck's box was up when it hit the bridge, and you can see it looks to be stuck there. Fortunately, cars are moving around it, which means it's not completely blocked off. So far, there's no word on injuries or the circumstances leading up to that driver striking the bridge, but this is a developing story, and we'll continue to keep an eye on it.
The Toronto Tempo will be looking to continue their winning ways as they embark on their first ever road trip. The team's coming off an 86-73 win over the Seattle Storm on Wednesday. That was the first victory in franchise history. The team will look to add another win to their column when they take on the Los Angeles Sparks tonight. Tip-off is set for 10 p.m. in California.
The Blue Jays will be looking for a second straight win when they begin a series with the Detroit Tigers tonight.
Another 2-2 pitch, and it's hit to deep left field. It's carrying. It's gone.
We could watch that over and over again. The team has momentum on their side from that walk-off win over the Tampa Bay Rays Wednesday. Trey Savage set to get the start tonight. First pitch due at 6:45 p.m. in Detroit. And Blue Jay shortstop Andrés Giménez is the latest player to be featured in our hometown team series.
The recent World Baseball Classic champion shared what he loves about Toronto.
I grew up in Barquisimeto, Lara, Venezuela. I started playing baseball since 3 years old, so that's the only thing that I know to do. Being a dad, I take chances on my off day to spend time with my kids and my family. If we have the chance to go to a zoo, we go to a zoo, or we stay at home, but just enjoying family.
Is there anything else that sticks out as like a hobby or something like that you do?
That's a good question. I need to find a hobby. Playing my computer, playing some Warzone with my friends, playing some FIFA.
Andrés Giménez.
I like the CN Tower, and that's the only place that the aquarium. I went there with my family, so I like that one.
Do you have any restaurants that are like your go-to?
Yeah, I like the Cake. I like Silent Age. Really good Mexican food over there.
What do you love about Toronto?
I like everything. Always been one of my, when I was in Cleveland, Toronto, it was one of my favorite place to go on the road. So now I'm playing here and I feel more in love with the city. I like everything about it, a lot of food, diversity, different cultures, so it kind of reminds me of Venezuela.
Still to come, we're getting a look at the impact of the province's new restrictive freedom of information laws. We'll have the details when we come back. We have an update to a story we brought you earlier in the newscast. Ontario's top court has dismissed an appeal filed by former fashion mogul Peter Nygard. The decision upholds Nygard's 2023 convictions on sexual assault, for which he was sentenced to 11 years in prison. The 84-year-old will now spend roughly 7 years behind bars, factoring in time served. Nygard's lawyer had argued that the trial judge made errors in the ruling, including admitting testimony from an expert on trauma. A 3-judge panel ruled the error was harmless and did not mislead the jury or cause a miscarriage of justice.
The Ford government's new restrictive freedom of information laws are beginning to have an impact. The Canadian Press says the deadline for documents it requested looking into cuts at Ontario hospitals has come and gone. More than 70% of hospitals in the provinces are currently forecasting deficits. And Ontario Health Minister Sylvia Jones has told them to come up with 3-year plans to balance their budgets. The plans were due last year, but the Canadian Press says its Freedom of Information requests into the matter have not been answered.
Still to come, EV sales have shifted into overdrive across the country. We'll have more on the rising numbers when we come back.
Honda's decision to indefinitely suspend plans for an electric vehicle plant in Ontario comes as new EV sales have shifted into overdrive.
March Shaw sales increased nearly 75% compared to a year ago. CTV's Adrian Gabriel has the details.
An acceleration in electric vehicle sales is driving a surging trend across the country. This new Statistics Canada report has revealed that in March, there were more than 21,000 new zero-emission vehicle sales in Canada, a spike of more than 74% year over year.
They are in high demand. So is there a future for electrified vehicles? I mean, there's a present and a future for electrified vehicles.
And it's all Canadian. In February, the federal government announced a new 5-year EV incentives program, offering rebates of up to $5,000. Automotive insiders believe it's in part a driving factor.
The surge of gas prices and the return of the federal EV incentives is helping to drive those sales.
Another variable being cited, Canadian consumers becoming more familiar and open to the idea of going green.
We have consumers who have experience, their neighbors have experience with EVs, and they're trusting them.
New EV sales made up more than 12% of all vehicles sold in March, up from just over 6% during the same month last year. While Honda has indefinitely suspended its $15 billion electric vehicle complex in Ontario. In St. Thomas, Ontario, construction of a massive EV gigafactory battery plant is well underway, with production set for next year. Ottawa has also opened the door for 49,000 Chinese-built electric vehicles to enter the Canadian market. Demand from budget-conscious consumers is expected to be strong.
We're also hearing about exciting hybrids in the pipeline, and the variety of consumer choice is going to be building from all over the world.
One roadblock impeding EV growth, according to those watching the trends, is consumer anxiety over accessibility to functioning charging stations in communities across the country. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Coming up on CTV News at noon, Kinky Boots is back in town. We'll have more on the award-winning show's return to Toronto after a decade when we return. Well, it has won 6 Tony Awards, and Kinky Boots is now back on stage at the CAA Ed Mirvish Theatre.
It's been a decade since the Boots first strolled into town, and CTV's Andrea Case couldn't resist trying them on.
Based on a true story of a British shoemaker who saved the family business by making footwear for men worn by women, Kinky Boots returned to the Toronto stage this week, starring Noah Silverman as a manufacturer and Amari Collins as Lola, a drag queen. Collins says he was born to play the role.
I feel like Lola, in a nutshell, is this effervescent being, and I feel like I embody that, just look at me,
For Silverman, the role is a dream come true.
I saw the show when I was 14 years old on Broadway, and I was obsessed with the show. And this is a role that I never thought I could ever do.
This is my 7th time in the role. It's wild. It's wild. I always find something new every single time I come back to it.
You look pretty good, but I think there's something wrong with the outfit.
I think it's the boots.
Yeah, these are boots. Oh, it's just my size.
Cinderella.
Gentlemen? Woo! The boots are one thing. Collins's makeup and quick costume changes are another.
Let me tell you, it's magic, but it's also science. So we have it timed down to a T. I think our quickest one may be 31 seconds. Yeah, so we come off. I think Charlie says a few lines, and then I come right back on, in full everything.
I've had people come up to me after different shows and kind of, especially, you know, in the States and some of the more rural places that we go, and they'll come up to me and they'll be like, I had no idea what I signed up for. This isn't necessarily what I could have ever expected, and it's absolutely amazing. And it completely touched me, and thank you so much.
One of the major themes in our show is you change the world when you change your mind. And so, like, as long as we can affect even one person in the audience, like, that is life-changing for me. Like, I hoped that people will come in with an open mind and an open heart and leave with feeling full.
Kinky Boots is on stage now at the CAA at Mirvish Theater. Andrea Case, CTV News.
The perfect kicker for this newscast. Now give us the goods. This long weekend is looking so nice.
It's looking great for the most part. A couple of exceptions, but this evening should be nice. Watch for a bit of an increase in cloud this afternoon, and then this evening should clear back out again. We will enjoy some sun and a seasonal low of 9. Tomorrow's high expected to be about 22 degrees, so even warmer than today. We do have the chance of showers and the risk of thunderstorms in the afternoon. That's less of a concern in parts of cottage country north of the GTA. Next couple of days looking like this. Great weather for opening up the cottage, heading to the campground for the first time. And then your 7-day forecast shows heat for Monday and Tuesday, but we do get back into some wet weather for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Sean and Michelle.
Thanks, Lindsay. And that's CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and on our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Sean Leathong. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a good afternoon.